we're going to do is really kind of uncover some things that are around our feelings and help get a better understanding of those feelings and what to do with those feelings. Because our young men, especially the target audience that we're talking about with Determined Destiny, we're talking about young men between the ages of 8 years old and 21 years old. And we know it's a wide age range, right? But in each phase there's lots of different human development that's going on within our young men. And there's lots of different feelings that they're feeling at each stage. And wow, what an amazing opportunity for them to be able to understand that those feelings are normal, those feelings are natural, and here's what you do to manage yourself with those feelings. See, I think that's part of the problem with our young men today. Historically, we've taught young men not to feel, right? And not to be open about their feelings. Because that's not manly, that's not tough. If you're hurting or if you're lonely or if you're unhappy about something, then you're not supposed to show that. Well, I don't subscribe to that. And I don't think that that's how we become a whole person, by ignoring something that is God-given, our feelings. We can't ignore those, y'all. And we got to teach our young men how to recognize those feelings and what to do with those feelings. And that's what today's lesson is all about. Understanding that your feelings are your feelings and they are real. And so I took a lot of notes, and I'm going to be sharing these notes with you on the Facebook page. So if you want to get a copy of these, you're driving, you're listening to this in a way that you're not able to take some notes, I'm going to put these notes on our Facebook page so that you can have them to refer back to when you're working with your young man, okay? And as well as on our website. So what I want to talk about is our feelings and strong desires. Initially, we're going to talk about strong desires. We're going to talk about undisciplined thoughts. And then we're going to talk about responding to every temptation. So let's talk about strong desires a little bit. And what is that? Like strong desires, especially for our young men as they're growing up and they're developing themselves. You know, they're going to have desires for certain things. I desire to be good at sports, or I desire to have this thing, whatever that is, as a youth, you know, this Xbox or this PlayStation or this game, or I desire to be on this team and have this role in this position, or I desire to have this phone or this tablet. You have strong desires for certain things. Even as you work your way up into high school, you got a strong desire to have this particular job or do this particular thing within the band or within theater, or let's keep it real, I have a desire to be with that particular person. Wow. Now we're going to make it real for you. So we all have these strong desires, regardless of the developmental stage that you're in. That's normal. Acknowledge the fact that you have those strong desires. But what I want you to really be able to do is have disciplined thoughts with those desires. So when I talk about disciplined thoughts, right here I put undisciplined thoughts, because that's the thing that gets you in trouble. But when I'm talking about when you connect strong desires, if you can have disciplined thoughts with those strong desires, then you can have some positive outcomes. But if you have undisciplined thoughts, here's the thing that I want you to grab hold of. If you have undisciplined thoughts, you have to know that your thoughts determine your behavior. And your behavior determines your outcomes, what you're getting out of life, right? So it all starts up here with our thoughts. And if our thoughts are undisciplined, it will determine our behavior, which will then determine our outcomes. Remember what we're talking about here, right? Your feelings are your feelings. Your thoughts and your feelings go together. Oh, I feel upset about this thing that happened. So you have this thought that you're mad about that thing that happened. Let's keep it real. Okay, so I'm talking about a middle school young man. And one of my mentees who had a friend who was a female, who he saw her talking to another young man. So the thought comes into his head that she must be cheating on me, or she must not like me, or she likes him. And that thought comes into his head. Now, that's an undisciplined thought because you don't know the nature of that situation. And that was my conversation with him. Like, you don't know the nature of that situation. And you've got an undisciplined thought in your head now. And then that determines his behavior. So now he walks over and has some words with the young man and has some words with his friend. And those words weren't pleasant because he let his thoughts, his undisciplined thoughts, determine his behavior next. Well, this girl, she saw him in a whole different light. Like she had never experienced that jealousy, that side of him that was really kind of negative. But understand, he was in complete control of that with his thoughts. And he allowed some negative thoughts to lead him to some negative behaviors, which led him to an outcome that he did not want, where she began to shut him out. She began to say that she wanted to kind of back away from him as a friend like that when they were really growing pretty close. So I'm saying all that to say we've got to be in control of our thoughts because our thoughts controls our behaviors and our behaviors determine our outcomes. But it all started with the feeling and him feeling a certain way when he saw something. We got to be in control of that. You got to have disciplined thoughts. Okay, let's keep going. Responding to every temptation. We got to be careful about responding to every temptation. We can't just say everything that pops into our head. And I got this here in my notes. And again, I'm going to share this with you, right? So we can't respond to every temptation. We got to teach our young men this, that you can't respond to every temptation. And those temptations are feelings, right? So your feelings are real. Your feelings are your feelings. And they are real, but you can't respond to every temptation. You can't say whatever comes to mind when you're with your parents or in a classroom with teachers and friends in there or on the field or on the court with the coach or referee or wherever you might be. You can't just say whatever comes to mind because you have that temptation to say that, right? We can't just throw things around because we're angry, we're upset, we have a temptation to express our frustration and anger, so we start throwing things around. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't respond to every temptation that you have. That's undisciplined. And we're going to get into that a little bit too here. And let's think about some real temptations that our young people may have. I'm just going to keep it real with you. One of the young men that I've been mentoring, we talk about the temptation of sex and that desire for sex and how you have to be disciplined around that. And you've got to be able to recognize the feeling and that desire and control that within yourself. Because if you don't control your temptations, you get yourself in trouble. What about lying? You know, your parents or your teachers or your coach or somebody call you on something and you're in the moment and you have the temptation to lie about that thing. Man, that's a poor judgment of character right there. And here at Determined Destiny, we're all about growing young men of character. And even if it means I'm going to get in trouble, I'm going to avoid that temptation to lie about that thing because in the long run, it's better to be honest and deal with the facts that come. Deal with the consequences that come versus lying and just continuing. All you're doing is prolonging the consequences. You might as well go ahead and deal with them up front. So we can't respond to that temptation to lie. You can't. Let's keep it real. Some of our young people are indulging themselves in drugs and they shouldn't be. They absolutely shouldn't be. And we've got to help them understand that that temptation right there has to be avoided. If you're going to reach your destiny in life, a positive destiny in life, you've got to avoid the temptation of getting into doing drugs, whether it's with your friends or some group that you just happen to stumble upon or whatever. I want to strongly encourage you to be strong enough to stand up against that. And when I say drugs, I mean alcohol as well. If you're not of age and you shouldn't be drinking, then you've got to really be able to avoid that temptation. And I know it's a real temptation for our young people today, but we've got to be disciplined enough to avoid that temptation at all costs. Let's talk about the temptation of cheating in any situation. See, in American society, historically, we've kind of tempered it and played around with the thought of if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Well, I disagree with that. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I think you try, you do your very best. You do your very best at everything you can. And if you win, you win. And if you don't, at least you didn't cheat to win. You gave it your all. And if you failed, or you didn't accomplish what you were set out to accomplish, that's okay. At least you can put your head down on the pillow at night and say, I gave it my all. I didn't cheat. And the chips fell where they may. And that's okay. That's a person of character. Whereas if you were to cheat, let's say you didn't do your homework or you didn't prepare for that test, and you take that test and you get that grade, you cheat and you get that grade, you don't feel good about that. You don't feel good about that inside yourself because you know you didn't earn that. You cheated to get that. And that's not the kind of person that you want to be, where you cheat to get ahead. You want to be a person of character. And whatever happens based on your good character, it is what it is. But I can assure you, people of character succeed more often than people who are not of good character. So trust yourself, do the right thing, and let the chips fall where they may. That's responding to every temptation. Now, so we got those things up above the line here, right? We got those things up above the line where we talk about strong desires, undisciplined thoughts, and responding to every temptation. Now, below the line, what I want to take us to here is the acronym HALT, HALT. Why do we get to this uncomfortable spot within our feelings? I want you to keep that in mind. HALT. When things just aren't going right and you're not feeling right within your feelings, I want you to evaluate. Is it because you're hungry? If it is, then do something about that. Get you something to eat and take care of that hunger. Your body needs to have nourishment in order for your brain to work properly. So if your feelings are all out of whack, maybe it's because you're hungry. Maybe it's because you're angry. H-A, the H is for hungry. The A is for angry. Maybe you're angry about something, like my boy who got mad because he saw his girl talking to another guy. You're angry about something. Okay, acknowledge that feeling and pause. HALT. HALT is what that spells. HALT. If you acknowledge that anger, that allows you time to pause and figure out what to do next, what to do with that feeling, right? So H is for hungry. Are you hungry? Get yourself something to eat. Get your feelings back in whack. Are you angry? Recognize the fact that you're angry about something. Get your feelings back in whack so you can make a better decision. The L is for lonely. Are you lonely? And this is one of those ones where, if you're too masculine to admit that you're lonely, then you won't get this. But realize that a lot of bad decisions are made with young men because they're lonely. I'm going to say that again. A lot of bad decisions are made with young men because they're lonely. And when I say lonely, I don't mean like, oh, I'm so sad, I'm so lonely. I mean like you're truly not plugged in somewhere, whether it's with your family, with your friends, in your class, on your team, within a community. You're not plugged in. So yeah, you feel lonely. You feel lonely, alone. It's going to cause you to make some bad decisions when you're feeling lonely. So we got to help our young men realize that they got to get plugged in. They got to stay plugged into their family. They got to have a group of friends that they're connected with. They got to get involved in something in school that keeps that socialization going, on a team, whatever that is. We can't allow our young men to get stuck in feeling lonely because that's where bad decisions are made. And then the T is tired. Are you just tired and you need to take a nap, or you need to get to bed earlier so that you get a good night's rest so that your body can feel energized and recharged? So HALT, are you hungry? Are you angry? Are you lonely? Are you tired? I want you to use that to fill in the gap of these that are above so that we can then get to these that are below, where we talk about having patience, being disciplined, and being emotionally balanced. See, when we recognize what's got us feeling a certain way, then we can exercise a little bit more patience to get things done the right way. Or we can exercise a little bit more discipline and say yes to the good things. Say yes to the good things when it comes to being disciplined. And then being in emotional balance that just allows us to have peace and harmony in our life and live life in such a way that is productive for our young men, for ourselves, and for those that we impact or that they impact on a daily basis. I know I threw a lot at y'all around your feelings are your feelings, and they are real. We want our young men to know that. Your feelings are your feelings, and they are real. We're not discounting those things that you feel, but we want to help you understand what those feelings are all about so that you can be more productive with those feelings, and so that those feelings, you can use those feelings to help you be a better person. That's what this is all about, y'all. Hey, I'm Coach Kevin. This is Determined Destiny. I'm on a mission, y'all, and I want y'all to come with me. We are determined to turn around the lives of our young men to help them be in a more positive situation and for them to write their own destiny. That's what this is all about. Hit that subscribe button if you've heard something that you like. Don't be afraid to hit that like button. Let me know we're doing some good things here. Me and my team are really putting together some videos and series and talking points that we know is going to impact our young men in a positive way. Follow us on this journey and help your young man be the best that he can be. Hit the subscribe button. Check us out on Facebook and check out the website. There's some good things on there as well. Have a great day, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week. Take care.